I hate it. I don't know why. I don't remember at all. This source material is a masterpiece. Numbers don't lie. Here's my mid-year review of everything I watched, broken down by genres, platforms and ratings. And before telling you which are the best and the worst TV shows and movies I watched, let me tell you about what's my rating system. Since January, I started tracking everything on the app Tracked because I was looking for an app that would track both TV shows and movies, whereas some of those which are well known, such as Letterboxd, only track one of the two. So it's the first time I'm also using this specific type of rating. I'll put it on the screen right now. And I've tried my best to be completely honest, which is why I gave ratings right away as soon as I finished a movie or TV show, without thinking too much. And after a while, I noticed that some TV shows could have been rated a little bit higher, with some others I was too generous, and so on. But here I'm showing you what I first thought of each and every one of these. Another reason why I started tracking with Tracked was because I thought I would get the stats directly from the app, but that's not the case if you just use the free version. And this is why I ended up making charts on Notion instead. I simply copied everything from my Tracked to Notion and made charts over there. Between January 1st and June 30th, I watched 158 TV shows and movies, but 8 of these are either TV shows or movies that I re-watched. And some of these also take quite some time, such as Supernatural, which has 15 seasons, each having 22 episodes, for instance. And I recently re-watched both Season 1 and Season 2 of Foundation in preparation for Season 3, which is about to be dropped. And I haven't put Severance here because I re-watched Season 1, but I also watched Season 2 for the first time, so this ends up in the other category, in the new things that I watched. So for the other stats, we will not count these 8 TV shows or movies I had already watched. This leaves us with 150 in total. Of these, 95 are movies, 55 are TV shows, and 7 are miniseries, or we could say 62 are TV shows in general. Let's see which are the main genres I've been watching, and in this vertical bar you can see, well, dramas are the number 1, followed by 57 thrillers and 56 sci-fis, followed by mystery, comedy, fantasy, action, crime. And again, these are the genres that are used in Tracked. So once again, I labeled each entry based on what Tracked said. But if you look, I don't know, on Wikipedia or on IMDb, these might be slightly different, but I just chose to stick with one method, you know? And the genres I watched, the list, are dark comedy, musical and historical. Now let's look at how many movies I watched per month. And here you can see that May wins with 35 different movies, followed by June and February. And this probably happened because in March I was watching a lot of TV shows on Apple TV. And so some of these numbers depend on when I was using a certain platform. And we will talk about platforms in a minute. And since in March I was watching Severance as it was dropped weekly, this makes sense. And as you can see here, the main platform I watched is Apple TV Plus for that reason, and because recently I was re-watching Foundation, so I was again paying for Apple TV Plus, followed by Prime Video. So Netflix is not at the top of my list, at least not this year. And this is accurate only if you think about which are the movies or TV shows available to me in this country this year, because you know they keep changing, and by the time you watch this they might have already changed something and they might have moved a certain TV show to a different platform and so on. But the 3 main platforms I use are Apple TV Plus, Prime Video and Netflix. Now let's look at the ratings. I noticed that I've been quite harsh with my ratings. I don't know if Severance affected everything else I watched after that. That's possible. And so nothing was as satisfying after watching season 2 of Severance, and maybe that's why I've been really giving mid to low ratings. But the main rating I've been giving was 5, which on Tracked is called meh, followed by 6, which is fair, and 4, which is poor. And as I said, for certain TV shows, afterwards, after a week or so, I thought about them and I realized maybe they deserved more, such as Department Q. I initially gave it a 6 rating. Now I think it's more of a 7, but I wanted to be honest, so I kept it in that group. And those that don't have any rating yet are simply TV shows that I'm still watching or that I paused and I will keep watching them later on in the year or something like that. So that's why you see no ratings as well. And there are 9 TV shows I put in the category DNF, which is, I believe, booktube jargon for did not finish, but I mean it in the sense that I'm not done yet with these, not in the sense I'm giving up on these. For example, The Handmaid's Tale, it's finished officially, but the final season has not been released yet where I live on Prime Video. And so that's why it's a DNF for me, because I started watching The Handmaid's Tale this year and I haven't finished yet. And yes, Stranger Things is here because I hadn't never watched it before. I didn't have Netflix until a couple of years ago, so I missed the whole wave of fame that they got with this TV show. I have yet to watch the 4th season, but I'm not too convinced why everybody loved it so much. I really don't get it. I mean, maybe the 1st season. The rest was okay. Since the beginning of the year, I finished 141 brand new to me TV shows and movies. The only TV shows that got a 10 rating are Pantheon and Severance. Not a single movie made it to the very top of these ratings. And if you missed my review of Pantheon, check it out because it's truly worth watching. And the same goes for Severance. I mean, I made 4, 5, 6 videos about Severance, so of course I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I do recommend you first watch the TV show and then come back here and check out my deep dives. And I watched Pantheon before Severance, even though it came out in 2022 as well, but I didn't have access to it, so I watched it as soon as it was dropped on Netflix. And there are just 2 seasons, so you really should check it out. The other TV shows and movies that deserved either a 7 or an 8, because I didn't give any 9 for some reason, are 9 in total. And here we have From the End of the World, Lost in Starlight, for which I will release a little review as well. The Calendar Killer, which could also be a 6, not necessarily a 7. It depends. You see, some of these ratings also depend on what I watched right before a certain movie or TV show, and this might inadvertently make me give a lower rating or a higher rating based on what I watched before. I know you shouldn't compare them, but sometimes it happens. Then Gifted Hands, the Ben Carson story, Mind Cage, which again has also some really low ratings online, Time After Time, Identity, Primer and Time Lapse. For Time After Time, Primer and Time Lapse, these are movies that I watched simply because I was looking for the best time travel movies to recommend you. And as you can see, I enjoyed them. But which are the movies and TV shows at the very bottom of my list? What's the worst for me? We have 3 that got the rating 1. Between Worlds, which I don't remember at all. I have no clue what this was. If I don't look at any image or any poster, I don't remember anything, which is never a good sign. Then Book Club, The Next Chapter, which I put on simply because sometimes I miss Venice or a certain city I've been to or I lived in. And so I gave a go to this movie, and I don't even remember if I watched the previous one. I have no clue, but it was so bad that it made me think of maybe I should make a video about the stereotypes that you see when Italy is portrayed in cinema. And some of you would like to see that, so I might prepare it. But it was really terrible. And finally, the electric state. Did it deserve a 1? Maybe not. But I was really bitter, and I even waited some time to watch it after it was released, not to give Netflix the wrong impression, you know. I don't enjoy this, so I'm not running to watch it. But basically, I don't know if you watched the video in which I talked about Tales from the Loop, I think it's called, or just Loop, which was released on Prime Video a couple of years ago and was based on the art of the same artist they pretended to be inspired by for the electric state. And I was so bitter because they truly misused his ideas and his art, and they completely ruined it. They completely ruined the message, the technique, the idea behind these illustrated books. And the electric state could have been a masterpiece because the source material is a masterpiece, and they missed the mark so badly. It's embarrassing. It's no. Terrible. I might be a little biased because I don't really enjoy Millie Bobby Brown, but I mean, she was the least of my problems when I was watching this disaster of a movie. Everything was wrong. I mean, when you're given a perfect story with visually striking illustrations, how can you mess this up so badly? And that's why I gave it a 1. Revenge. I gave the second lowest rating to these 3 movies: Barbie, The Master, and Triangle of Sadness. I know that you will probably disagree with me. I had never watched Barbie before for several reasons, but one of these is that I utterly despise the color pink. And so I wasn't excited to see a whole movie covered in pink. Yes, it's a silly reason, I know, but I hate it, so I didn't want to see it. But recently it was available, I don't remember where, probably Netflix, so I just put it in the background while I was working on my laptop, and I didn't enjoy anything from it. And so I didn't give it a 1 simply because I can assume that they did a lot of work to create that world, to build it. But other than that, I truly couldn't care less. I'm sorry if this hurts your feeling or something, I don't know. I hate it. I don't know why. Whereas for The Master, I didn't appreciate how they developed the story, and it's about a cult, and I'm often curious about stories of cults, or in this case it was specifically around one person who created this cult, but it was endless and tiring. I don't know, maybe the way they filmed it or how they chose to script it were in a way a reflection of this absurd cult. I don't know, but it wasn't enjoyable. And Triangle of Sadness, my god, don't watch it. And I gave really low ratings to these 2 as well, for different reasons. So I gave 3 to Adolescence and Prime Target. I noticed that every now and then on threads you will see a certain TV show or movie being named over and over again and being recommended non-stop, but without any explanation. So usually people write, just go watch this. I saw so many people talk about this Adolescence, so at some point I was curious. I understand why people praised it. Certainly the technique was the main thing that I would have enjoyed, but I was let down by the structure, because I think it was just 4 episodes or something, and they were all so distinct and also potentially far apart from each other in time that I was a little bit lost and I wasn't invested in the story. It felt not as a documentary, but it really had something different from a TV show, or in this case maybe a mini-series, that didn't allow me to truly get into the story. Even though, of course, it's an important thing to show people, and I'm sure it had a huge impact on both adults with children and children or teenagers. And I'm not in either of these categories, so it didn't affect me as much, whereas a lot of people truly felt as if the miniseries was talking to them and to their reality. So I totally get that it's worth watching if that's the case, or if you belong to one of these categories. But I was disappointed because it felt all disconnected for me. And I gave it such a low rating because everybody was hyping it up. So that's why I was even more let down because of that. And Prime Target, I was disappointed because at first it really had a good premise. It was promising, and then it was pointless, boring. I don't know what they did wrong, but I don't know, maybe after the second or third episode it was really If you watched Prime Target, which was on Apple TV+, so again, it was something that I was watching in between Severance, but if you watched it, what do you think? Were you disappointed as well? So in the end, I gave the best ratings to the genres sci-fi and thriller, and the worst ratings to comedy and adventure, which makes sense because I absolutely love sci-fi, so of course that helps. And I'm not into comedies as much, or maybe I need to pace myself, so just to have them once in a while. I didn't give myself a watching goal or something, as people on BookTube do, because I couldn't care less about the number of things I watch. But maybe I thought of making this mid-year review to give you an idea of what I watch and also how many things I watch, which maybe makes you trust me more with my recommendations, because I truly spend a lot of time watching TV shows and movies. Sometimes, if I already don't think I will enjoy it, or it's not exactly my favorite genre, or if it's scary, I tend to watch it on the side, so to have it in the background while I'm video editing or doing something else. So I don't necessarily give it my full attention, but if I see at the beginning that it's intriguing enough for me, I will put everything down and give it all my attention. But that's why I can watch so many things. And also, I'm disappointed when I have to go back to things I watched already. I want new things more often, because it feels as if the industry failed me in a way. If they are unable to provide something intriguing for me at the rate at, I don't know, Netflix or something, that they keep pushing out stuff, and that's ridiculous. This shouldn't happen, right? I should always have something interesting to see based on the number of things that are out every month. And yet, sometimes I really crave a good movie, and that's when I end up watching something that I knew already, that I loved in the past, and so on. This might be the case of comfort shows and movies, for instance. But let me know, which is your favorite genre, and if it matches with what you see or what you watched this year so far. I don't plan on making many of these videos because I assume it's boring to some people, and I don't normally talk about stuff that I'm looking forward to or that is about to be released in cinemas and such, because I always fear that I will be disappointed, so I'd rather keep it quiet and wait until I watch it. And this is not the case for Foundation, for example, because I loved it so much when it came out that I decided to make a review that will be up after this video, because I'm hopeful that they will keep the quality as high as it has been, even though it's not really based on the books. But in itself, as a show, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So that I'm looking forward to, and I hope we will chat about it this month. And sorry if I sound sick, it's because I am. But I hope it wasn't too annoying for you. And now that you watched this, check out the video on the screen. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.